My child, my beloved. Something has been trying to reach you all day. But each time, you turned away. Each time, you skipped, and something sacred got delayed. Please, I'm begging you now. Don't do it again. This is not just another message. This is the one heaven has been guarding for 72 hours. The final protection we can offer you before something unthinkable enters your path. And the tragedy that's being planned? You won't even see it coming. God says, this is an emergency. And I, Archangel Michael, am breaking every law of heaven to warn you in time. There are forces gathering. Dark shadows in places you thought were safe. Whispers behind your back. And a decision being made about you without your permission. Before we continue, if your soul is ready to hear what others will never be allowed to know, subscribe now to stay connected with heaven's messages. Because after this moment, only those who stay connected will continue receiving what is hidden and protected. This could be your last divine update. Now breathe deeply, and listen carefully. You felt it, haven't you? The strange energy these past few nights. The odd behavior of someone close. The feeling like you're being watched, or worse. Like someone is preparing something in secret. It's not your imagination. And it's not paranoia. It's a spiritual signal. And only you received it. Because you are chosen. But if you ignore it, heaven can't promise to shield you again. Your name was spoken in a meeting in the heavens yesterday. And I, Michael, stood when it was mentioned. Because I knew. The next 72 hours would change everything for you. Either you'll rise to your miracle, or be struck by a loss that will make you weep for years. Yes, my beloved. The warning is real. And I wish I could soften it. But this is the last moment for mercy. You must act now. Right now, someone is planning something that will shock your soul. A decision, a phone call, or a word spoken behind your back will create a wave of sorrow or glory, depending on what you do in the next few moments. And the reason God allowed me to speak to you right now? Because you're about to choose the road. And heaven needs to make sure you don't walk blindly into pain. If you've ever trusted a divine message before, trust this one. Your future is hanging in the balance. And no one, not even the angels, can undo what's coming unless you respond now. I know you've been tired. I know you've said, maybe tomorrow. I know you've scrolled past 1,000 signs. But this one is different. Because this one comes with a time limit. 72 hours before everything changes. And if you walk past this moment, what you'll lose will be something you never thought could be taken. There's someone in your life right now. They're wearing a smile. But behind your back, they're forming a betrayal so cold. It will leave you speechless. You might not believe it yet. But the proof is coming. And when it arrives, It'll be too late to go back. God asked me to protect you. But even I can only go so far. You must help me. By opening your spirit to what heaven is trying to show you. Don't let pride keep you blind. Don't let fear silence you. Don't let doubt delay your miracle. Because hidden in this warning is your divine escape. My child, my beloved. There is something you forgot. Not a thing, but a truth. Something you once knew when you were little. That the world wasn't always this cruel. That there were once guardian hands around you. That your name was always whispered in heaven's safety. But somewhere, life made you forget. You started depending on people who only pretended to care. You started believing that you weren't protected anymore. But I'm here to tell you. That was a lie planted by darkness. The truth? You are still protected. But only if you respond. Because right now, a very real event is being prepared. And unless you allow me to intervene, it will go forward without your permission. And the tears you cry later will be because you delayed listening now. A disaster is trying to land near your name. Not because of something you did, but because you've been chosen for something so holy. The enemy panicked. And now, they're attacking from behind the curtain. But listen closely. Because I'm about to tell you the part that will give you chills. Someone you love is going to try to stop your miracle. Yes, someone who smiles at you, texts you, hugs you, says, "I'm here for you." They're about to become the reason you almost miss everything. And here's why that person was allowed to stay close. So that when they reveal themselves, you will never again doubt who truly walks with you. You were never meant to cry this much. But each tear you cried has been stored by God. Every night you were alone and still said, "Thank you," was noted in heaven. And now, heaven has prepared repayment. But here's the terrifying part, my child. You only have 72 hours. 3 sunsets. 3 moonrises. 3 moments to decide if you want what God has been storing for you all this time. Or if you'll keep delaying until it disappears. Because if you do not take this seriously, the door will close. Not because God is cruel, but because the time has already been extended. Twice. And this is the final extension. I know you can feel it. The urgency. The burning in your chest. The whisper in your dreams. The way you keep being guided back to this message. It's not coincidence. It's God saying, "Child, please, listen this time." There is a file being opened right now. A spiritual case with your name on it. Inside, there are 3 stamps. Betrayal. Warning. Redemption. You must not allow the first 2 to blind you from the third. Because redemption, real, divine restoration, is ready to enter your home. Your finances. Your health. your relationships, your spiritual path. But if you delay again, you give the enemy legal right to tamper with it. Yes, I said legal right. Because in the spiritual realm, every delay is treated like a permission slip. And the darkness is waiting for one thing: your silence. But not today. Please, not today. Speak up. By opening your heart now. By saying, "Yes, Michael, I receive this warning. I will not ignore heaven this time." Say it out loud. Say it in your spirit. Say it now. Because in just a few hours, a decision will be made about your name. And it will either break you or bless you. My beloved, I am watching over you. But even an archangel cannot force protection upon a closed soul. You must be willing. Let me tell you something personal from heaven. Something I was shown that made me tremble. There is a woman. She is being instructed to lie about you. She is close. She is smiling. But her lips are preparing to set a trap. She wants to say your name in front of the wrong people. She wants to twist your story. And in doing so, she will almost cost you the next 7 years of peace. Almost. But not if you open your eyes now. God is not done with you. In fact, He's just getting started. But you must be ready to face the uncomfortable. Because after this warning, the truth will start revealing itself rapidly. One by one, masks will fall. Secrets will surface. Phone calls will feel different. And you'll start to realize, this message wasn't early. It was right on time. My child, my beloved. You're not imagining this. What you're feeling right now, the racing heart, the goosebumps, the sudden silence around you. That's not just emotion. That's divine activation. Because while others scroll and skip and yawn, you opened this. And that alone has triggered a movement in heaven. Something has shifted already. You may not see it yet. But the moment your eyes reached this sacred warning, a code was unlocked in your destiny. A protection began to form around you. Because heaven rewards those who listen when it's hardest. There is someone who wanted you to be distracted. They wanted you to be so overwhelmed that you wouldn't notice what was being taken. But now you're awake. And now, that plan is falling apart. Let me speak clearly. You were targeted for tragedy. But heaven has stepped in. And I, Michael, have already drawn my sword. I saw the future the enemy planned for you. A phone call that was supposed to break your spirit. An argument that was meant to shatter your peace. A loss, so unexpected, that it would have delayed your blessing by years. But no more. Not this time. Because you chose to listen. And the angels around you are rejoicing right now. Because what almost happened to you will now be reversed. Yes, I said reversed. That sickness? It will turn into strength. That debt? It will collapse under the weight of sudden provision. That heartbreak? It will become your greatest testimony. But child, do not celebrate too early. Because this is a narrow path. You must keep listening until the very end. Right now, a door is cracking open. But you must walk through it. And you must do so without fear. Someone is about to contact you. It might be subtle. A message. A number. A sudden coincidence. But it's not coincidence. It's part of the divine escape route. And if you respond from your heart, everything you thought was lost will come running back multiplied. My beloved, you've survived things you never speak about. You've been brave in places where others would have fallen apart. You've been tested in silence. And now, heaven is shouting your name in rooms where angels gather. They are speaking of you with awe. Because you didn't give up. But now, you must make a final decision. Will you keep surviving? Or will you finally start living? Because surviving is what you've been doing. But living, true, miraculous, overflow living, that requires obedience. It requires spiritual eyes. It requires you to take this moment seriously. There is no more room for doubt. Not after all you've been through. Not after all you've lost. Not after the warnings that have already come and gone. This one matters most. Let me tell you something else. Something only heaven knows. A divine transaction has already been approved. It was signed 3 days ago. But it's not been released yet. Because someone near you is standing in the way. Not physically. Spiritually. They are speaking words about you that are creating interference. They are projecting fear and confusion. And if you don't break free from their influence soon, they will delay what is already yours. I know that hurts. It hurts to even imagine that someone you trusted could be the reason your miracle is late. But now you know. And once you know, you can no longer play small. God is calling you to rise. To wake up. To disconnect from anyone who makes you question your calling. And to say yes to what heaven has placed on your path. Because in 72 hours, this moment will be either a memory or a miracle. The question is, will you act in time? You have divine protection. You have spiritual backing. You have my sword over your life. But you must still choose. If you delay, if you scroll away, if you say, maybe later, then I cannot stop what's coming. I cannot block what your silence permits. But if you say, yes, right now, if you open your heart and your spirit fully, then everything changes. Everything. My child, my beloved. If you only knew how much has been waiting for you. you would never doubt again. If you could see the blessings lined up in heaven under your name, you would fall to your knees and cry with joy. But this is why the enemy fought you so hard. Because he saw what was coming before you did. He saw that your name was connected to a divine event that would shift your bloodline. He saw that your obedience would unlock the protection of your entire household. And he panicked. That's why the attacks increased. That's why people changed overnight. That's why your spirit suddenly felt tired. Because you were approaching something holy. And every time a soul nears a miracle, the storm increases. But I have good news. You made it through the hardest part. And even if it felt like you broke, heaven only saw someone being reshaped. You're not broken. You're becoming. You're not forgotten. You've been hidden, for protection. And now, as the clock ticks toward the final 72-hour window, God says, enough. No more hiding. No more delay. No more pretending you're not ready. You are ready. You were chosen for this moment. Not because you are perfect, but because you never stopped believing, even when it hurt. And now I must tell you something very sacred. There is a transfer happening. A spiritual exchange. Something that once belonged to another will soon be handed to you. But the catch is this. They know it. The one who is losing it knows that heaven is about to elevate you. And they're trying to interfere before it happens. That's why your name was recently mentioned in a place of jealousy. That's why someone tried to make you look bad behind closed doors. That's why a conversation was twisted. Not because they're smarter, but because they're scared of your rise. You were born to rise. But your rise must come with clarity. So hear this and let it settle in your soul. Someone you thought loved you has been blocking your destiny. Not always with words. Sometimes, just with their doubt. With their envy. With their fear that you might outgrow them. But I'm not asking you to fight them. I'm asking you to recognize them. Because the moment you see them clearly, their power over you ends. And when their influence breaks, the flood of blessings will begin. You will suddenly feel lighter. You will start sleeping deeper. Your mind will become clear. Doors will begin opening without explanation. That is what happens when a divine blockage is removed. My child, you've been dealing with resistance that wasn't yours. You've been trying to carry someone else's weight. But God never asked you to carry what they refused to heal. He asked you to rise. And now, He is asking one more thing. Don't turn away from this message. Not this time. Not when the miracle is already walking toward your door. There is something coming that will leave you speechless. Not because it's painful, but because it will be more beautiful than what you prayed for. But you must be present when it arrives. Don't be stuck in past heartbreak. Don't be emotionally tied to what's already expired. Because the miracle won't wait. It has a timeline. It has a divine clock ticking down. And heaven will not hold it back once the hour strikes. 72 hours. That's all. This isn't about fear. This is about preparation. You see, in the spirit realm, this isn't just any week. This is a week of exchange, of reward, of exposing what's fake, and revealing what's true. The masks are coming off. The lies are being revealed. The ones who pretended to be for you, they're about to show you why God kept giving you warnings. You didn't imagine it. The energy shift. The strange behavior. The inconsistencies. All of it was heaven trying to alert you before the veil lifted. And now, the veil is about to lift completely. When it does, you will be left with two choices. Pretend you didn't see it, and stay in delay. Act on it, and walk straight into your divine release. Choose wisely, beloved. Because if you delay again, you will miss the alignment of this divine window. And the next one won't come until 2026. My child, my beloved. The countdown has begun. The final seal has been opened. And I, Archangel Michael, have been permitted to reveal one final piece of truth that has been hidden until now. Your future is being watched. But not only by heaven. There is someone on earth, someone who once smiled at you, who now watches every step you take, waiting for your downfall. This is not to scare you. This is to protect you. Because heaven will always show you who the enemy is, right before the victory arrives. And now, I must warn you that in 72 hours, this person will do something unexpected. A message. A lie. An action disguised as concern. But in truth, it will be the final attempt to block what is coming to you. But now that you are aware, they will fail. Because you're not just walking with faith anymore. You're walking with revelation. And once you see the truth, it can never unsee you. Let me make this clear. Heaven has already voted in your favor. God's hand is already stretched toward you. My sword is drawn. Your miracle is already packed, labeled, and heading toward your location. But one thing remains. You must stay spiritually awake. You cannot go back to sleep now. You cannot let routine blind you. You cannot allow doubt to drag you back down. Because there's something else, something huge. A door of justice is opening. Someone who hurt you is about to be exposed. Not by revenge. Not by your hands. But by divine truth. They tried to make you look like the villain. They twisted the narrative. They told others stories that made people walk away from you. And for a while, you thought maybe you were wrong. But now heaven is restoring your name. And the same people who laughed at your pain will be shocked at how quickly your breakthrough comes. They will watch in disbelief, as the very thing they said would never happen for you unfolds right in front of their faces. This is not just recovery. This is restoration with interest. Because you didn't just survive betrayal. You stayed kind. You stayed hopeful. You still whispered, "God, I trust you." Even when you had no proof things were working out. And now the proof is coming. There is an address in heaven with your name on it. Inside it are instructions for a move. A phone call. A miracle-sized opportunity. That will look ordinary at first glance. But it will open the door to the next 7 years of abundance. 7 years of divine momentum. Yes, this is the cycle you're entering. But child, you must say yes now. Because the enemy knows the clock better than you do. He knows that if you say yes to God in this window, it will be impossible to stop what heaven is sending you. That's why he's been whispering lies into your thoughts lately. Maybe I imagine the signs. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not chosen. But listen carefully. Chosen ones always question their calling right before the miracle appears. It's not weakness. It's confirmation. You are closer than you think. The spiritual attacks are proof. The delays were a sign. The silence of certain people? A divine clearing. Because what's coming next can only be shared with those who are pure. And that's why God pulled certain people away. Even when you didn't understand. Even when it hurt. Even when you begged for their return. God was protecting your table. Before he served the feast. You don't feed enemies what was prepared for royalty. And you, beloved, are royalty. But time is running out. That's why I was sent again. That's why this message had to find you before night falls. Because something in the spirit is shifting. And the next 3 sunrises will decide which version of your life begins. You are standing in the place of divine decision. Not because you are in danger, but because you are in alignment. This is what alignment feels like. A little scary. A little overwhelming. But deeply sacred. Because everything is happening at once. So that the wrong season can end, and the right one can begin. And I'm telling you now. That season starts the moment you fully believe again. Not half belief. Not distracted hope. But full, bold, childlike faith. Because the miracle is already outside your door. My child, my beloved. Right now, there is a knocking at your spiritual door. You cannot see it with your eyes. But your heart has already felt it. That subtle pressure. That feeling in your chest. That moment where everything suddenly went quiet. It's not your imagination. It's the divine moment. Before the miracle steps in. But here's what I must tell you with urgency. Not everyone in your life is meant to hear this sound. Not everyone is meant to walk with you where you're going. Because some of them have been feeding off your delay. Some of them are more comfortable when you're stuck. And they won't celebrate your miracle when it arrives. They will envy it, twist it, and quietly hope it doesn't last. This is why I've been trying to wake you. Not because I want to scare you, but because I need you to protect what's coming. What God is sending you is rare. And when it arrives, it must be handled with wisdom. You've waited for this moment for years. Prayed for it during lonely nights. Imagined it in moments when hope felt impossible. Now it's here. But it comes with instructions. You must not tell everyone. You must not announce it too early. You must not try to convince the wrong people to believe in it. Because miracles grow best in silence. In obedience. In peace. And your peace, beloved, is what the enemy has been trying to steal most. Have you noticed? Right before something beautiful enters your life, something chaotic always shows up. An argument. A strange dream. A delay. A moment where you suddenly feel like giving up. It's not coincidence. It's interference. It's an invisible war, designed to distract you. So you'll miss the blessing that was walking in from the other side. But this time, heaven says no. This time, you will not miss it. This time, the enemy is too late. Because you've opened this message. You've awakened. You've returned to spiritual clarity. And now, I can finally tell you what God showed me. A major reversal is coming to your name. Where there was lack, there will be overflow. Where there was sadness, there will be laughter. Where there was betrayal, there will be honor. And where people left you, God will now send those who never abandon. But the miracle won't look like a miracle at first. It will look like a small moment. A simple opportunity. A decision you'll have to make quickly. And how you respond will decide what unfolds. That's why this message was sent now. Not next week. Not next month. But in this sacred hour. Because within the next 72 hours, that small moment will come. And if you're spiritually ready, you'll recognize it. If you're distracted, you'll dismiss it. But if you're aligned, it will unlock everything you've been waiting for. God is not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be present. To listen. To trust. He's asking you to shut the door on fear. And open your heart to divine certainty. Because there is something else I must reveal. Your name has just been cleared in the Spirit. Yes. That spiritual case that's been holding things up. The accusations, the delays, the closed doors. It's been reviewed. And guess what? God overruled it. He said, "This child still believes. This child still loves. This child still prays. And for that, the promise shall be delivered. But be warned. The enemy has filed one final objection. A spiritual appeal. A last-minute interference attempt. It will come in the form of a distraction. A conflict. A temptation to go back to the version of you that was tired and doubting. Do not fall for it. Do not engage. Do not revisit old pain just because it knocks one last time. Because behind that knock is nothing but a delay. And behind the next 72 hours is everything you've prayed for. My beloved, I see what's coming.